Hi, Cleo here, and today we're going to talk about Little Whoppers. So these are books, none of which are very long, and they're not that difficult to read, but boy, do they give you a good return on your reading time. And I'm going to start with the smallest, biggest Little Whopper, and that is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. Now, a lot of people probably read this in high school or college, and that's fine. There's a reason it's a classic. But, as you grow up and age, maybe you get to learn more about life. It's a different story. The story being, though, that it's an altruistic yet crunchy friendship between George, who is the smart guy, and Lenny, who is the hulking, simplistic guy. They're driven from region to region because of Lenny's inability to fit in with social norms. And he never means any harm. He's a good guy. So they get a job together at a ranch, finally. It's a good place. They make good friends. They make good money, considering it's the Dust Bowl. But those bosses, actually one boss and that boss's wife. Ooh. So anyway, no spoilers here. There's so much hope in this story, but as you read, you can feel the foreboding. What's going to happen? There's a reason it's as compelling now, possibly more so now, than it was when it was written back in 1937. Next up, we have Double Indemnity by James M. Cain. This came out in 1935. Classic noir crime fiction. 115 pages. So in this story, Phyllis, she's a lovely woman. She's a former widow, married to a Mr. Nerdlinger, and she would like to be a widow again and make some money for her hard work. So enter Walter Huff, the previously unbesmirched, careful insurance salesman. Well, who comes out of this one unscathed? Do you like that old-fashioned crime detective talk? Women are dolls. They're dames. They're femme fatales. And they're men. They have mistresses. They plan murders. They drive the car. They ride trains. So, Huff, Mrs. Nerdlinger, Lola. Short staccato sentences that are going to punch you in the brain, lodge there, alter your speech pattern, your thought pattern for a couple of days, but then you'll heal up and you'll be ready for your next great read. Next up, we have Silver in the Wood by Emily Tesh. This came out in 2019. It's 105 pages. This is a Green Man story. It's the first in a two-part series, a duology. And in this, on a cold, rainy day, in a quiet, cozy cottage, we meet Tobias Finch. He's a giant of legend and of body, and he's been the guardian of Green Hollow Wood for years, 400 years. He meets his new landlord. He has a new landlord, and his name is Henry Silver. Henry literally kind of stumbles through. He's interested in learning the lore of fae creatures, and he wants to write a history of his new property, Green Hollow Woods. And he's seeking Tobias as a source of information. He's not sure he exists, so that's why he went looking. Henry is such a fresh young thing that the Lord of Summer decides he wants to steal him away. And so all sorts of adventures ensue. This is a Green Man story. It is enchanting, folkloric, magical, and gently queer. I'm looking forward to reading the sequel. While we're in the woods, let's meet Shirley Jackson's We Have Always Lived in the Castle. This is a classic book. It came out in 1962. It's under 150 pages. In this, we meet two sisters, Constance and Mary Cat, along with their uncle, Julian, who is the survivor of an arsenic poison. So he is weakened in both mind and body. Now, the rest of their family succumbed to the arsenic poisoning, which was somehow served in their dinner one evening. So, shunned by the villagers, the sisters and their Uncle Julian are just kind of making it. Well, they live in the castle. And the castle comes with lands, valuable lands, and deep woods. Their cousin Charles, from far away, decides that he should come and check in and maybe take over the castle and the woods and the lands. This story is told from the perspective of Mary Cat, and she has a special connection with her cat Jonas. She has a special magical connection with the lands. It's magical, or is it kind of magical? While we're talking about sisters, let's visit with My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyin Khan Braithwaite. This came out in 2017. It's a newer book, and 223 pages. In this, we meet Ayula. She's the gorgeous sister, pampered and a favorite of the family, while Coretti is the functional sister. She's a nurse who works at the hospital, and therefore she has useful talents. Ayula has a recurring problem. Her boyfriends keep getting stabbed to death. Somewhere along the way, this beautiful Ayula gains the attention of Coretti's boss. Mr. Tade Atamu is a kind, handsome, remarkably perfect young man. Coretti tries to warn him, but he thinks that she, being rather plain, is just jealous of her sister. This is a whip-smart story. It cracks with action, wit, and the most hilariously sinister humor. You will have yourself wondering why you are laughing so much at such terrible things. We have one more book. This is a newer book. It is Midnight at the Electric by Jody Lynn Anderson. This is about 250 pages. It came out in 2017. This is a gorgeous story, but when you hear the word gorgeous, make it a tender, quiet version in your mind. There's gentleness here and beauty of a different sort. This has 3 storylines, 2065, 1934, and 1919. In 2065, Adri Ortiz has worked hard for years to be selected as an early colonist to Mars. In the months before her departure, she is assigned to stay with family to have final connection to Earth. The problem is, her only family is long lost, distant, somebody she's never met. Her cousin Lily lives far away, way out in the country, think dusty wheat fields, and she has nothing in common with Lily. So she goes there. She's bored. And she starts riffling around through the house. Well, she finds a hidden cache of letters. And while she's reading these letters, it takes her back to 1939 and 1919 to Great Britain just after World War I. These stories are subtle, gentle, and haunting. Don't let the prospect of a science fiction-y thing, going to Mars, colonization, keep you away from this tale that successfully unfolds neurodiversity, Latinx, science fiction, epistolary novel, historic fiction, and eco-fiction in one neat read. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about these little whoppers, 3 new books and 3 classic books. They're all available for checkout at the Tulsa City County Library. Thank you.